Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 1 of the Outcast Podcast. Tonight we have our special guest, Mr. Nonamenerd himself. I'm going to go ahead and bring the screen up so you guys can see. And here we go. All right, so as always, I am your host, Gunk Punk. With me, as usual, I have members of the Outcast Gaming crew. I've got Daddy Llama,
Hello.
Nomatar,
Hi.
Silver,
Hello.
and Psycho Hillbilly.
Howdy there.
And then, of course, we have our very special guest, the one, the only, Mr. No-Name-Nerd himself.
Glad to be here. Although, in fairness, you can call me Brian.
Brian. Okay. We should have asked that before we even did this.
Bro,
We're professionals, we promise.
No, it's all good.
instantly my mind went to Family Guy.
We think too much alike, stuff.
So, I will say I look nothing like Family Guy. I also do not wear glasses. Interestingly
Okay.
enough.
Tonight's, obviously, like I said, the first episode of Season 2 Outcast Podcast. Our goal is to have a little more structure here, obviously. So tonight we're going to be interviewing and at the same time being interviewed by Brian from Nonamenerd. A lot of you have seen us talk about it. You've seen it in our posts. The page is an affiliate of the Nonamenerd company. They have amazing merchandise. I actually have a custom t-shirt we gave away for our 300th follower. We ordered, purchased, and got a custom gaming jersey to one of our fans. And I actually ordered the affiliate brand package, which I have somewhere over there. I have the mask. I've got the pop socket right here, which you can totally see because the light's, just perfect. And we got a few other things, including a sticker, which is on my car, so I can always represent the brand. They have some amazing products, and I want to thank Brian here for joining us for this podcast this evening. Definitely means a lot to us for you to join us, sir.
Yeah, I'm very excited to be here, and I'll let you know this is in fact the first time I've ever been interviewed on a podcast. And even though coincidentally, right, 2021 was also the year that we launched the Nonamenerd podcast. So,
Hell yeah.
I've seen
Yeah,
it a
yep.
lot on Twitch, but the problem is I'm at work when it pops up. I'm like, no.
hey,
Oh,
hey,
it's a
I-
Twitch channel?
no, well, oh no, I've been streaming more on Twitch just for kicks. To be honest with you, I don't. I'm not all that serious about it. But no, we started a podcast. You can get it on anchor.fm/the No Name Nerd.
Okay.
Should have known that better. It's either No Name Nerd or the No Name Nerd. Can't remember the
I'll have
answer.
to look you up on Twitch.
You'll have to message it to me
You can-
later, and I can upload it to our Facebook page so people can
Oh,
check it
yeah.
out.
It is just /No Name Nerd, but you can find it on Spotify. If you search for No Name Nerd on Spotify or Apple
Cool.
iTunes or whatever, it's readily available everywhere. So I don't know. It's fun. I'm glad. I'm excited to be on the other side of the microphone. I guess like in either case, you're in front of a microphone, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's I know personally it's a big thing for me to, finally speak with you person to person ish, more like you said, in front of a microphone. I don't know about the rest of the outcasts. I know we've all been talking about it since I first announced that we were going to get you on the podcast, so it's definitely an honor to have you. A lot of our podcasts, I know I sent you the link before. A lot of our podcasts have just been kind of nonsense back and forth, theories, and a bunch of just random talking. It's been a lot of fun for us, but we definitely wanted to bring some more structure into it, have more of a basis to go off of when we're discussing things with, people. So,
No, I think that's totally fair, and I would offer that the No Name Nerd as a company has gone through an evolution over a couple of years where it did start off very random, me trying a whole lot of stuff, and kind of developed focus over time. And I think a lot of people go into projects, whether it's podcasts or otherwise, and they want to have everything laid out from the beginning to the end. And I think that works for some stuff, but I think for a lot of stuff, it's just good to kind of start, see where it goes, see what's working and not working, and then take steps from there. And it sounds like that's what you guys are doing.
I like Brian. He gets us.
he does get us.
Take a lot of
See,
stuff, put some duct tape and WD-40 on it and go with it.
That's the key. You don't say I don't know what I'm doing. You say the process is evolving. It's all about framing.
Yep.
Good to know. Good to know. So we're gonna somebody write that down so we don't forget it.
Already forgot. Too late.
Well, it's
Part
good
of the
thing we're
evolution. Yeah.
It's a good
You
thing
can
we're
watch it
recording,
later.
So, yeah, we'll watch it later. I'll go in and do like 6 hours worth of editing, and then I'll upload it to YouTube so we can watch it later. No big deal. So
No.
we've got what I had the rest of the Outcast do is kind of create some questions to ask you. So I figured what we can do is kind of do a few questions from us, a few questions from you, and kind of go back and forth. Do kind of one at a time. Is that okay with you?
Yeah. No, that sounds good.
Cool. So we'll start with Nonamenerd. You did put the first question in. If you want to go ahead and ask it.
Yeah. Well, hang on. I forgot my question.
I've
Gotta
got
look up his question.
I've
I've
got
got the yeah, I've got
There we
it
go.
pulled up
Okay.
as well.
So where did you get the name no name no name nerd? Like, what's the story behind that name?
So I'm gonna give you guys like the official answer and then like the unofficial answer. So you're gonna get both, and then you can kind of combine those two, and you can get the truth from that.
Okay.
And so the official answer would be that I always wanted the brand to be about community. And that's why, like, I'm glad you invited me on, and I appreciate this opportunity to talk to you guys. I really enjoy. I spend a lot of time on Discord, probably of the communities that we have, talking to people, because that to me is the fun. And actually, Joe Big Bite, who's running we have a happy hour going on Twitch right now, phrased it very well, where he said the brand is the community and the community is the brand, because like why else would you buy something from the Nonamenerd as opposed to somewhere else? And so to me it was kind of important that the name was not really representative of an individual, right? Because there are a lot of people who are trying to get out there and they're trying to be influencers and things like that, and I really, to be honest with you, have no interest in that. And it was only maybe more recently I've realized I need to do some of that to promote the company, but I really want the company to be about the community. And so kind of in that maybe it's too abstract for only people like me appreciate it. I'm not sure. Sometimes I get a little in my own head, but I didn't want it to be about a person. I didn't want it to be about a name or an individual. I wanted it to be about a group of people. So that's the official answer. The unofficial answer is only partially related. I mean, it is like not entirely separate from it, but I mean the other thing is for some reason I've got a fascination with domain names, and so I just like searching for domain names, and so I'll sit around, I'll brainstorm names for stuff and then see if there's a domain name available. And so the other answer is the domain name for Nonamenerd was available, but I tell you, you try and throw geek into anything and it is not available.
Yep.
And yeah, it's all gone. And Nonamenerd had some nice alliteration, so it sounded good. So
Well, I gotta
that's
say,
kind of the unofficial answer.
I gotta say, from my perspective, it's a very catchy name. It just kind of rolls, but it can make you stutter, like Nonamenerd was like, trying to get it out. It can.
That's just me. I'm just an idiot.
You play guitar too much. That's all.
Something.
So our next question is from Daddy Llama. You have two up there, so you got to pick one.
Yeah, and he kind of already answered the first one. So let's hear your best dad joke.
Oh wow, that's a good one. But you're stumping me on that. So ironically, I mean it's like performance failure or something, because I will say I'm a big fan of puns, and so if somebody gets started, I can pretty regularly follow up, but you caught me on my heels, as they say. So
it's a bad idea to get me started on puns. You can ask her if we go to Walmart.
Oh, dude, we'll go back and forth at Walmart
Yeah.
like no other.
I do go through these sight gag moments where I'll be like standing in the kitchen, my kids are sitting at the dining room table, and I can't think of a good one now, but like, I'll be standing by some silverware and I'll pull out the fork and be like, well, we're at a fork in the road, so what do we need to have for dinner?
Yeah.
But then my kids get into it, and so like my 9-year-old's not. He tries, but he doesn't quite have it, but he tries, man. So I got a teenager too, and he's pretty good. But like, so we'll go back and forth.
That's
Heck yeah.
Just
that's awesome.
that's not quite a dad joke, but
Hey,
it's in the right vein.
Hey,
It's the right
but-
category.
It counts.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next question, and then we'll have you ask like 2 or 3 questions. Is Psycho? You have 2 questions listed. Just pick one and go with it.
What influenced you to start your own brand or company?
So I like learning stuff, and this is probably related to the name. And I like learning stuff, and I like challenging myself, and so it was kind of like, hey, I wonder if I could learn to start a company. I mean, could I just figure it out? Could I, go through all the steps? Could I do the legal stuff? Could I, just I wanted to know how it worked, and I kind of wanted to know how it worked by doing it, and kind of you start narrowing it down into well, that's probably going to have to be something e-commerce because I'm not looking in like building a factory or getting into service industry or something like that, and so you start narrowing it down and kind of
Yeah,
it
that's it.
evolved from there. I'll say it that way. I just got curious. I wanted to sort of lean into learning how to marketing and operations, and I had project management experience. And
I'm that same way in that boat. Knowledge is power.
yeah, and it's fun. I mean, like
It really is.
I
I taught myself C++ coding, and
Yeah, and-
apparently that's like one of the hardest. And I'm like, really?
well, and I having not yeah, having learned to write code in like BASIC or something like back in the day. I've not done anything recently, but I like that problem solving. There's a satisfaction to I want to figure out. I still do this, right? I do most of the work myself, so I need to figure out how to get this system to connect to that system and to get them to talk to each other and to get the information to move back and forth. And really, the new stuff to me was marketing. And I have a background in behavioral science, but it wasn't exactly marketing. And I didn't do marketing. I studied people who do marketing, so it was.
Yeah. Hey.
It wasn't entirely unrelated, but I was like, well, if I'm going to study people who, are into it, I might as well see if I can do a little bit of it myself. And so I thought I would
Hell yeah.
apply.
Very nice. Well, real quick, one of our live viewers, he had a dad joke that he wanted to throw in, and it is,
Oh, yeah. Excellent.
did you fuel up the shopping cart before returning it? And it's our long-standing viewer, Aaron.
Of course, he would choose that one.
Did you fill up the shopping cart before you returned it?
Did you rewind the DVD before returning it?
All right, so Brian, it's your turn. Just 3 random questions you want to ask, and if you want to
gosh,
ask them at someone or just ask in general, that's fine.
I'm going to ask in general, but I got to say I like your questions. You guys are a little better at this than I am. I get practical. I've got this lack of a better phrase, kind of a sciencey side. But no, but I'm curious about this because I don't really stream, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, like 2021 was my all right. I'm gonna start putting myself out there. That I've been kind of focused on building the company, building the community, and then I realized because people were asking me to do stuff like podcasts and things like that, and I was like, oh, okay, if I'm going to do this, I gotta put myself out there a little bit, and so I'm going to start doing it. I got a webinar I'm doing next week. First time I've done a webinar. We're gonna do a webinar. We've got some online classes. We got some other stuff like that where I'm just kind of putting myself out there in terms of talking and being a little more the face and the voice. I'm not the no-name nerd because we're all no-name nerds, but being the face and the voice a little more. So my question for you, that was all my circular way of getting the question, which is, I'm interested for those of you who are streaming or for the podcast, like what motivated you to put yourself out there? Like what was the interest in it? Because I grew up playing video games with my friends and stuff like that, but I didn't, it's really, I think, only in the past 10 years that people had the opportunity to really like put themselves out there as easily as they can now.
So I'm gonna start this one. Um, Everyone in this group kind of got drug in by myself and one other member, because I actually built my computer. My entire setup was built when I worked for a computer repair shop. Where working there, we built computers, and part of what we did when we were working was we would watch live streamers, and it initially actually started with the concept of just doing a podcast. But then I built my computer, built my whole gaming rig, and started playing video games online with our friends. And my wife only had a PS4, but she would get on, and so we kind of progressed. And as we watched these streamers, we're thinking to ourselves, we could do that. I mean, it's
Yeah.
simple. So we started, really started, playing together, and then it came up with, okay, if we want to do streaming, we got to come up with a name. And so we were all just kind of shooting around, and Outcast just kind of came out. And so we decided on the Outcast, but the streaming really came around as, kind of a why not situation. And I actually kind of drug Psycho, Nomatar, and Silver into it because we wanted to play online with them.
I'm being
and
held captive. Please help.
Yeah, we're here against our will right now.
No, you're
Honestly,
not.
just
I
wanna
feel like
go home.
we keep coming back to the van. It's all that keeps I've got some candy and a podcast.
But no, I asked them. I said, "Hey, we're doing this. Do you want to join us?" And it just kind of turned into they were kind of regularly, weekly playing with us. And it's like, well, hey, we're building a gaming crew. Do you guys want to be a part of it? And they said, yeah. And so the streaming thing was, it's more so a lot of streamers do it to make money. For us, it's more so we create a lot of chaos for each other just playing, Fortnite or Among Us. Among Us is the worst compared to when we're
Terrible at
playing Zone Wars on Fortnite. Um, we try to find ways to just really ruin the other one's day. It gets bad. It is bad.
Yeah, I do it naturally.
But let's see here, just a second. And I hate to do this in the middle of it. We do have our recruit actually. I guess he's joined in earlier, but has been waiting patiently for me to bring him in, and he is now here. But anyways, so the streaming came about. Myself and Silence Pig 6. He and I are the ones that really pushed to really start this thing, and it was just like, why not? Let's just do it, And I mean, here we are now, almost a year later, doing it. Obviously, we don't have a huge fan base, but again, it's not so much to make money. If we make money, cool, but to us it's we're having fun and we're making fun of each other, me more so than the rest of the crew. So
Yeah,
why
nobody
not?
likes you.
I know, I'm telling your mom, by the way.
Shit.
So we decided, why not share this entertainment with others, just for fun, you know
Yeah, no, I totally like that attitude, and I mean, to me, that's the kind of thing that we've tried to create in the No Name Nerd communities and like on our servers and our groups as well. Because, hey, there are some people who are gonna get out there and they're gonna make a lot of money, but to me, it's kind of like if you're playing a sport, if you're playing any other sport, right? That there are people who they make it into the NFL or they make it into the NBA and they're going to do something spectacular. There's some people who are going to, pay for college and like kind of be mid-level. But you know what? There's a whole lot of people who just play or stream or do whatever it is because it gets them together with people they like, gives them a chance to hang out with their friends, it gives them a chance to do something that they enjoy. And it doesn't have to be more than that. It can be all of those things at the same time. So I appreciate what you're saying.
Okay, yeah. And so what's your next question? Or wait, does anybody else have a response they want to add to that?
I'll add in a little bit because so whenever I was like probably like 14, I started wanting to get into streaming because I was watching a lot of streamers that had really big communities, right? They're all about the community like you are. I think that's my big thing with us being streaming because I think if we can build a big community of people that can all just come together and talk, I mean, what better could you do?
Yeah, and
And
I felt like too. There's a. I'm sorry, I have a tendency to talk a lot.
no, you're fine.
It's cool.
The I feel like a lot of online communities were getting kind of a bad reputation.
Hmm.
You know, where
Yeah.
there are toxic places out there and they're toxic streams. It's real. I get it. I mean, it's real, but there's also great places or great groups like you guys where it's just having fun and like
Oh,
building something positive. So
well,
I
sure.
appreciate it.
Yeah, and I'll add a little bit more there. Like I come from a pro gaming background. I don't
Oh,
know if you know what Counter Strike is, but
yeah, yeah, yep.
I went pro for a little while and stuff, and then I'm a very avid Twitch viewer, and one of my favorite Twitch streamers is Dr. Lupo. I don't know if you know him or not,
Yeah, I've heard of him.
but
I've played with him quite a bit.
what that man does for just a community basis is just it's astounding because he's changed people's lives all around the world and then when Gunk got me or asked me to join, I was like, hell yeah, because if we can build a big enough community, we can change everything. We can change people's lives potentially.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. And think about the even what's taking place this week with like GameStop.
Oh
That
man.
that nobody
Ooh.
right no because the narrative and I'm going to be cautious about this because I think there are also elements of Wall Street jumping on and like boosting and getting on board with it that
Mm.
so it wasn't all like grassroots Reddit, but it the fact of the matter is that a group on Reddit moved stocks in ways that an online community, I'll say it this way, that there was an online community that was moving the economy in ways that nobody thought was possible. I'll just leave it at that.
And I agree with you there, and it feels like change is coming, and it's change that we've needed for a very long time.
Well, and I think that it's one of the interesting COVID. I don't want to call it a benefit of COVID, but I think that it has accelerated, I think, some of the online interaction where, I mean,
Light in the
out of
darkness
necessity.
type thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are some changes that are positive changes that
Mhm.
are happening faster.
Exactly.
And I got to give you a heads up. I can only stay for another 5 or 10 minutes. I'm going to hang out with Roy.
Oh, show.
No worries. We'll have you ask one more question. We'll answer it quickly, and then we'll ask. I think. Hang on, just a second. I'm looking over everything real fast to see if there's. Okay, we have one good question. I think that will tie in, and it's actually Daddy Llamas.
No, Silver wanted to ask because we got to make sure that
Okay.
we'll get that one answered.
So go ahead and ask one more, and then we'll have Silver ask his.
Okay, so this is the one I always ask at the end of my podcast interviews. So I'm curious what your interpretation are. I like you guys. I feel like it's going to be a good one. I want to know what it means to be a nerd.
Oh.
Bro, where do we
I
That's a
mean,
good question.
I'm gonna be the first to admit I'm a nerd. Obviously, I'm a comic book nerd. I love reading comics. I love watching, comic book movies. I'm also a computer nerd. I mean, I spend my time working on computers, my own computer, my wife's computer, working on, videos that I do, sound edits. I mean, I'm a musician, so I'm sitting here messing with sound all the time when I can. That is like our intro video. I spent the past not even 2 days, making the intro track
Yeah.
by editing sounds just to get it. So to me, a nerd is somebody who's like dedicated to something. You've got your sports nerds, your movie
yeah.
nerds. There's all types of nerds out there.
Book
to me,
nerds, machine nerds. Yeah.
I don't know. See, at this point, like especially being in the day and age that we are, where it's okay to, like all this stuff. I feel like somehow it morphed into an art form too,
You're not wrong.
like an art form and like kind of educational at the same time too.
Yeah.
I mean, you can learn a lot of stuff from some just being a nerd. It's like I'll sit here play video games. A couple years ago, I was heavily addicted to Magic the Gathering. Heavily addicted.
She
Oh,
was.
So,
you'd probably like my magic jokes then.
all right. When you coming over, Aaron?
Huh? I don't have any of those cards anymore, unless you want me to play proxies, because I still have a bunch of proxies I printed up, but I don't take mine out of the vault anymore. They stay in a safety deposit box. I only kept my alpha and beta.
So who else has a? What is your guys? Everybody else, what's your perception of a nerd?
Pretty much
I would
that,
like to go. Being in my mid 30s and living through 3 generations of different types of nerds, I have a lot I want to touch on that. Simply because of the word itself can be used in a lot of different junctions. It can be used in a positivity aspect, and it can be used in a negativity aspect. And growing up in the early 90s, video games weren't cool. It was the thing
Yep.
that the losers did. I'm an 80s baby. So for me, like when you ask me, like, hey, what did you grow up on watching TV? I'll say like Transformers, GI Joe, Lassie, and Flipper are going to be the first words that come out of my mouth. Like we kind of talked about that the other day too. But for me, like in the term of the word nerd compared to somebody that's called a geek is typically somebody that you refer to as somebody that you're jealous of by their intelligence, is the typical aspect that you see in society as far as psychological profiling goes. But the form of nerd is when you're taking whatever it is that you're a nerd about, it's something that you have micro obsession over that could have started out as just something that you do on the side, turns into a hobby, and then it turns into something that you have a compassion about, something that you're passionate about. And like he said about CSGO, I remember playing CSGO when it first came out during Half Life after Team Fortress
Yes.
Classic, where it launched from. I, I've played that game for 20 years. And from
Hmm.
coming from myself or somebody who was sponsored by a major company before in another game, back during the Gears of War 3 days, my clan got sponsored by Mountain Dew and Monster for about 5 different tournaments. We got sponsored, and then we just got tired of it. They wanted us to do things we don't want to do, so we decided it just wasn't for us. And I used to play with people like I got your Pistola from Team Boss Hunter, that was probably one of the most famous Halo teams out there in the Xbox scene. And Gears was one of those other flagship PvP games, kind of like CSGO's been the flagship for Valve on Steam since Steam launched and has kept Steam alive for going on 10, 15 years.
Yep.
But for being a nerd, like somebody might look at go that doesn't watch video games, they find Twitch on their first day and they come across Lupo or Dr. Disrespect or any of the other main names on Twitch, or go to Mixer on their Xbox and they found Ninja. They're going to be like, oh man, this guy is just like a no lifer. He doesn't even go outside of his house, when they don't realize you affect a lot of other people's lives that way. Lupo, for
Hmm.
me, myself, my game that I enjoy the most, which Hillbilly will relate to this, my game would have died. There never would have been a Destiny 2 if it wasn't for people like Lucky Buttwipe, Dr. Lupo,
Hmm.
1 Second Kill, some of the best PvP streamers out there on PCs that decided to play this game on console. They kept my game alive for a year and a half. And honestly, the game would have died if it
And I
wasn't
think
for these individuals.
in one of what you're describing is, I think, where stuff has really evolved in the past. I want to give it like about 5 years, where I think people are now starting to take it seriously as an art form. And I think there's more acceptance of the idea that you're allowed to be passionate about, computers and technology and video games or movies or whatever it is that you're passionate about. But I want to circle it back a little bit to that original question of like what motivated the company. And I mean, in truth, I still see a lot of stigma associated with it. And for my kids, and I remember my son trying to find people to play Dungeons and Dragons with. It is definitely not mainstream to the same extent that football is,
No,
or
no.
basketball, and I'm not. Hey, if you want to play that stuff, that's cool. Like not hating
Exactly.
on it, not at all. But it is definitely not embraced. And around the same time, I was starting the company and trying to think about like what was going to be the ethos, the culture of the company. I was also teach a leadership class at a university, and it had somebody, a high-end student, like very successful, all that kind of thing. And he was introducing himself, and in a very quiet voice during his introduction, clearly embarrassed, he introduced himself as, well, I'm kind of a nerd too, and I play some board games and things like that. And I was thinking to myself, here we are at a place that was focused on education and like theoretically celebrating all this stuff, and the guy's still kind of embarrassed to talk about it.
Yep.
And so we've made progress. You know what I mean? Like, it is a different world, and I think that my prediction, and I talk about this. I wish I could remember. It's either a podcast or something up on YouTube, but my prediction is in 50 years, live streaming is going to be maybe similar to what film is now, where if you look at movies in the early 20th century, I mean, they were not taken seriously at all. It was horrible. It was seen as a low form of art. It wasn't art at all. It was crass. And I think that, like, live streaming is kind of going through some of that as well, where there is first, it's somebody in their basement, right? Like, somebody can't get a job in their basement. And I think now it's evolving to the point where it is, like you were saying,
it's almost a leading industry at this point.
Oh, the gaming industry, I need to double check the exact statistic, but the gaming industry exceeds the movie industry, TV industry, and music industry, I believe, in dollars.
Wow.
It's three of the major industries, but I don't quote me on the actual three that gaming exceeds.
Somebody's
it's big.
quoting him right now.
Yeah, somebody. Oh yeah, this is live.
Google it.
Actually,
I mean, that's a pretty good analogy. Just to touch like actual marketing facts as far as like I'll take Bungie for example. I just mentioned Destiny. Since you mentioned comparing that to like the movie industry, like take how much money a box office like Avengers Endgame, right? Made about $250 million on opening weekend.
yeah.
In a 7-day marketing period, which was the end of the final quarter for Bungie's quarterly earnings. As far as what their reported earnings were, just from a microtransaction for a Christmas event called The Dawning, they netted $500 million just off of microtransactions.
Jeez.
Yeah, no,
Wow.
that's a good example.
Tournaments.
Excellent example. Yeah, I mean, it's a bigger deal economically than it. It's like culture has not caught up to the money.
No, it really hasn't.
Well, it's only a matter of time before it does. So I know I know you're kind of short on time here, Brian. So we're gonna ask one more question to you, and it's gonna be a thought-provoking one because I know which one he's about to ask. So get your brain ready.
Right.
I have.
I'm stretching it now.
All right, Silver, ask your question.
What conspiracy theory intrigues you the most?
Oh, what conspiracy theory intrigues me the most?
Yes.
Oh gosh, I try not to get like political because like that.
Oh, of course.
I actually have a meta comment about that, but I'm gonna shy away from that. What? Intrigues me the most, I think, would probably have to be anything. I like the whole Area 51 thing. I mean, like, there are, I'm certain, like, military secrets.
Will you be friends? Best friends?
Yeah, I mean, there need to be. Like, I'm not even saying there shouldn't be. And so I have a fascination with space. I was perhaps more of a science fiction geek than I was a fantasy nerd. So, although I am rereading The Hobbit to my son and have read them at least 6 times each, but extraterrestrial life, I find interesting, and
yes.
So
I don't want to say I think there are aliens buried there, but I think I like the story.
They're among us for sure.
They have to be.
That's real sus. That's sus.
Super sus.
Real sus.
I saw him vent. No, the reason I kind of face palmed when you said The Hobbit is, and this is just a quick backstory here. My sister is named after the princess of the elves in that book.
Gwen. What's her name? Gwendolyn.
Galadriel.
Okay.
The queen's name is Galadriel with a G.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Galadriel.
see, I'm not that good.
And yeah.
My
And she's
father,
named Galadriel.
yeah, my father is a big. He enjoyed those books, and as kids, we grew up reading them. So it's every time somebody's like, "Oh, The Hobbit's my favorite book," I'm like, "Oh, the memories."
I have I'd read each one of those books at least 6 times before the movies even came out.
Wow.
About the same.
It is what it is.
I actually have an original Gandalf Glamdring sword from the 70s from when the cartoon was still going on.
Oh, I remember the cartoon.
Wow, and I remember watching
Good
those
show.
cartoons too. Phew. Well, Brian, thank you so much. I know you've got some stuff you've got to take care of. Thank you for taking some time out of your schedule and joining us for the podcast this evening. Again, a huge thanks from myself and the rest of the Outcasts for joining us. And to all of our viewers at home who are watching currently live and will watch English, here we go, that will watch later on YouTube after I've edited the video and uploaded. Make sure to go over to nonamenerd.com, check out some of their amazing merchandise. They've got t-shirts, coffee mugs, posters, pillowcases. They've even got onesies for babies. And yes, I've looked it up because I have 2 baby nieces. So
You don't have an announcement on the podcast?
One
no,
quick question.
no,
When do we
no,
get
no.
adult-sized onesies?
Hey, I
Yeah.
do. You got me still answering the same question about the name, and one of the things I do like about the company is, and I'm shamelessly biased, of course, but I like that it provides people the opportunity to customize stuff themselves, and that's part of the
Yes.
idea is that, yeah, I mean we do put our logo on stuff. We got to make a buck. I mean, like that's how it
Of
works.
course.
But
Of
at
course.
the same time, I want it to be a place that people can make their own brand and make something that's their own. So, and to me that's
Express
kind of
their-
the express
Express their own
themselves.
individuality.
And it's
Absolutely.
very, very well priced. I mean, the custom shirt that I made, which is a band T-shirt that I can't wear because I ordered the wrong size. It was.
Fat ass.
Listen here, I may have put on some weight. Leave me alone.
Time to go to fat camp.
But I really shocked at how cheap the prices were. So definitely go check them out. And Brian, you should definitely look into some adult-sized onesies because my wife
and,
collects them.
and fanny packs.
No,
Please.
they have.
Yeah,
fanny packs.
they're fanny packs on there.
Oh,
If you could make a
Bro.
Teletubby one for Caleb here, that would be great.
Oh my God, yes.
No.
Hey, I really enjoyed talking to you guys. It was really a lot of fun. I appreciate
Brian,
you inviting me on here, Gunk Punk.
Brian,
You
thank
have
you
a
so
great
much
night.
for joining us. You have a good evening, man, and I will definitely message me the link for your live streams, your podcast that you do, and we will definitely get that taken care of. All right.
All right, sounds good.
You
Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.
Later.
See ya.
Oh.
Well, that
He's a
was
good dude.
fun. That was really fun. I think I think that went well.
He's a good dude.
Yeah.
I want to be his best friend.
Him.
Well, he's got his own company to run, guys.
All right, that's it, Caleb. You're
You're
fired.
out. Yeah, you're out. I'm sorry.
Now, hang
We've
on a
already
second
found
here.
your replacement.
It's Brian.
But definitely, our viewers, make sure to go check out nonamenerd.com. They do have some amazing merchandise. I know that, like I said, one of our followers got their own custom gaming jersey. We checked it out. It's super nice and
It was damn good material.
yes.
Still
so
need to order mine. Motherfucker.
I need to order a new one for sure. But that was definitely a lot of fun. So now I think what we can do is just kind of let's. Oh, one question I didn't get asked that would have been funny to ask.
Huh.
Mm.
Psychos.
Lawnmower 3.0.
Aw,
Damn.
man.
So he actually sent me the link for the podcast, and it looks like he just so for our viewers at home, I'm gonna upload a post for this. He only live streams some of his episodes, but they do drop new ones every Monday night. So definitely make sure to check that out, and definitely go over to the website, check out his products. They do have amazing stuff. So definitely go order you some stuff. We do have an affiliate code GUNKPUNK. GUNKPUNK that will get you 10% off your order. So
I agree with Aaron there.
Steph, they
Get
do
the
have
butter.
fanny packs.
Bet. And
We're not getting the butter. I've already used the butter.
Damn.
So there was
So,
Disgusting.
go ahead, Caleb. I'll talk a little bit later.
okay. So there was a question that was put in to the chat here for us to ask him, but I think we could probably ask, each person here. But I think what we should do is ask our recruit these questions,
But
since he is, a recruit for the Outcast Gaming crew.
so Aaron,
Well, what are your thoughts on the Lawnmower 3.0? I must know.
I've had one and I sold it after about a week.
Oh,
damn.
was it the 3.0 or the 2.0?
I had both.
Did you
Unfortunate.
2.0?
I had both, and honestly, I went back to my stylus from Gillette, which works a lot safer and better. It's very false, fictional advertising.
Oof.
There may have been a doctor's visit involved.
Wait.
That doesn't sound fun.
Hold on. This might be a stupid question. You said Gillette, right?
Yeah, I went back to a Gillette stylus. Like the stylus that you can attach an actual razor to, but it also has micro clipper on it. That's what I went back to after my experience with the 2.0 and the 3.0.
Gillettes make lawnmowers?
Yeah.
No. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Do you know what the Lawnmower 3.0 is?
No.
The
It's just a pair
manscaper.
of hair clippers. It's just
Oh.
literally a pair of hair
Manscaper.
clippers.
I thought you knew.
No, I
Oh
legit
my.
thought we were talking about a lawnmower this
Hold on,
entire
hold that thought. Hold
time.
that thought. I'll show you exactly what.
We don't want to see your landing strip.
Oh. Okay, maybe we do. Oh.
Not on stream. Not on stream.
Not on stream.
Censor.
Send me toes
this-
pics afterwards.
This is a $20 Phillips from Walmart. This is essentially the exact same thing as the lawnmower that you will get for $70 cheaper.
Yeah.
Did I
It
not?
does not protect you from nicks and cuts, and it is not safe to use on your sensitive parts. I will tell you that right now. I have a stitch scar to prove it. I'm not going to show that on stream because I'm pretty sure I'd go to jail for that. But
Yeah, that's a bad idea.
I've got really bad sensitive skin for my face and stuff. I used the Lawnmower 3.0. It almost ripped my skin off.
yep.
It was it was horrible.
Well, we know who will never get sponsored by.
Yeah.
So,
Fuck Lawnmower.
Daddy Llama, what is your question to our recruit?
Ayo, Aaron,
Hey, yo, Steph.
what's your best dad joke?
Huh?
What's your best dad joke?
Oh, I've got a lot. Like, how funny do you want to 1 to 10?
I
The
want.
I want to
best one.
pee
I
myself.
want to pee in this chair right now.
I'm not
Let
cleaning
me
it
think
up.
here real quick. Well, I'd have to tell you several, so you're gonna just have to deal with a few minor jokes.
That's fine.
That's fine.
Do you know how a dinosaur pays its bills?
No.
Tyrannosaurus checks.
I like that one.
What do you call a funky smelling car?
Ooh.
What?
A Mustang.
Oh my god.
And some of these are going to be dark dad jokes as well. What do anti-vax turn into when they turn 5? Make a wish, kids.
Oh God.
I got a dad
I'm
joke
not
for you
done.
here
I've
real
got
quick
more.
though. What's
I've
the
got
difference
more.
between a dark joke and a dad joke?
I don't know. He left and said he was going to get milk, and he didn't come back, man.
Yeah.
I watched that on TikTok the other day, man. So you're not going to get me
So
with that.
good.
And I'm going to suggest we not do the cop joke that was said on that TikTok if you watch that, because I'm
no.
not going there.
Yeah. No. No.
Well, before we
I
get
might have
lost
some
in the,
Antifa guy hunt me down.
you'll get swatted. Let's not do that. So before we get too far into the dad jokes, let's see here.
Show
What-
the strip.
Oh, I've got another one for you. Do you know why they call them Fords? Actually, two parts. This is a two-part joke. Why they call those cars Fords? Do you know why?
Because
Oh,
they're affordable.
Because they're affordable.
Yep.
Second part of the joke. Why do Matchbox and Hot Wheels make so many replicas of Fords?
Why?
So kids learn to push them at a young age.
Yeah, that one's pretty good. Oh, fuck.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Without going into too much detail, Silver, ask your question that you have.
What is your favorite conspiracy theory?
Just to touch on Brian's, because that used to be one of mine until I learned of facts. That place is actually housed for previous prototype military projects. That's what's
Of
actually
course,
housed in that
yeah.
warehouse. The actual thing that people think is there, that does exist, but it's not at that location.
No.
Like, I'll give two examples. One of the two items that are housed there from the SR-71 Blackbird and the F-22 Raptor.
Yes,
They have been
sir.
there since 1985, when the Raptor was actually developed, along with its chameleon paint job coat that actually shields it from people seeing it from the sky, similar to the F-2 bomber and the F-1 stealth fighter.
Yes, sir.
So all the aliens are in Area 52. Got it.
Goddamn.
But my favorite conspiracy theory, are we talking context of past
What
conspiracies
makes-
or current conspiracies?
Any.
Let me reiterate on that question. What conspiracy theory has made you do the most research on?
Honestly, the Biden-Pelosi conspiracy that's going on right now is the current one because it
Bro.
affects us on a daily basis.
Yes.
Wait,
And I have
is-
facts to back this up on why I believe in this conspiracy.
Okay, well,
Um,
we have to be cautious with this. So,
And real
we
quick,
got-
Ian, Nomenerd, thank you so much for sticking it out with us, man. We understand you got to take care of some family stuff. Go ahead and take care of that. Have a good night, and we will see you next time we stream, bud.
Bye, buddy.
social media is being super sensitive with anything
Oh,
going.
I know, which is why these are topic thing I'm going to safe social.
Well, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and we'll stop the conversation there so we don't get too far into it. I want to thank you guys for joining us for the podcast this evening. Huge shout out to Nonamenerd again, Brian, for joining us and, just kind of getting to know him and him getting to know us. Thank you to the members of the Outcast that were able to make it tonight. And thank you to our recruit, Aaron, for joining us. This is Gunk Punk with Chaos X47. This is where you say bye. There you go. Daddy Llama,
Bye.
Silver,
Bye. And remember, No Name Nerd, the option of lead host is still available. Wait,
really? Okay.
Caleb
And then-
wasn't supposed to hear that shit.
Uh-oh.
and Psycho Hillbilly.
Poggers.
Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. We will see you next week at our gaming session on Wednesday. You guys take it easy.
Don't forget to do the dishes.